They were talking about Andrew Tate, and then she says he had short king energy. I've heard that a lot, where girls would be like, man, he's short. Like, I got a bigger dick than him.
You can't just be like, oh, well, what about this? What about that? That whataboutism is bullshit. Like, no matter what I'm arguing, I can sound right.
I hate that.
I don't want a girl that goes to the club because she's a hoe and I can't trust her when she goes out. Well, that's your own insecurities, and you're being a dick about it.
Yeah.
If you feel like you can't express your emotions to your friends, check your circle. Don't blame it on society. Don't say that you're oppressed. Check the people that are around you.
Like I had a conversation with somebody, and they asked me if I would ever date a trans girl.
What is up, SU crew?
Hello.
This is gonna be a new segment that we're doing, calling it Casual Thursdays. Just started that 5 seconds ago. No official topic. We're just gonna be talking about the shit that's going on, random shit we want to talk about, things during the week. Just, come chill with us.
So I wanted to ask you guys if you feel that as though men are more oppressed than women in society, because apparently that's a thing. Like, men believe that they have it harder than women do.
Kind of Andrew Tate shit.
Let me just. When you say men, you mean men who can't get with women and who have no sorts of formal educations and have no jobs, and that's what we're talking about.
We just talk about
damn, Nick.
men.
Because nah. Because let's think about it. Men get paid more. Men are respected more. Like, there's no world where that's stupid. No, if you believe that, just fucking look in the no.
We don't have laws passed on what we can or can't do with our bodies.
Yeah. Fucking all you gotta do, I think it's Texas is trying to roll back no fault divorce laws so that like women need to like basically back in the day you had to prove abuse or cheating or something like that to be able to divorce. If not, you couldn't get a divorce. Nowadays it's just you want a divorce, you get a divorce. You don't need a reason, whatever.
I think,
they're trying to roll that shit back so they have to prove abuse and shit like that to be able to get
harder.
I think it's to get divorced and get half.
No, it's just divorce.
To get money.
Well, whatever it is.
Yeah,
like,
that law is
making it harder.
Like, if you want to get divorced and take half of his money, then they're
come with the receipts.
I forgot how they worded
I think
it.
it's either Texas or Florida, and I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive they're trying to make it so that women just can't leave. Like, that's unless crazy. They're like make it more religious and shit like that. I could be wrong on that. Fact check me, but
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is crazy because I saw that on a TikTok where this guy has, I don't know if it's his podcast or whatever, but he literally went on to say that men are definitely more oppressed than women and started to compare. He's mentioned the draft. And I'm like,
don't women get drafted?
Wait,
no.
So something we haven't had.
Women don't get drafted.
Yeah, but there hasn't been a draft since fucking Vietnam.
And it's like, how is it that men are oppressed because of the draft when men created the draft?
Not only that, only men are the only people that can be drafted because during that time when they made the laws, women were not allowed to be in the military.
Yeah.
So
because they belong where in the kitchen.
It's
women
only
weren't
men
allowed
because
to
women were so
or
oppressed.
make decisions at the time.
Women were so oppressed they were thrown out of that discussion.
Yeah, but like, how do you take like a one-off example that might not ever happen again to like an everyday thing
that's what these people do. It's all disingenuous bullshit.
I hate those podcasts of the way that they. Maybe not. I know who you're talking about, and I like him because he actually is very respectful in how he speaks. I hate like those passport bros that when they have those podcasts and they like to talk down to the females almost to get a rise out of them. Because if you're having a podcast and you're inviting people over, I hate when they're like, oh, then get the fuck out. And it's like, well, you're causing them to have that reaction because you're speaking down to them. Which speaks volumes as to the idea of like whether men or women, like who's oppressed or not. Like the fact that you think it's okay to even speak to someone like that shows like where you're at when it comes to that.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
And they always pick these stupid ass girls to have these conversations. Yeah. And like whenever they get that one smart girl, they barely put up anything in the video. They'll put up certain things, or the girl will put it up, and then it'll get spread that way. Because a couple girls have gone on that podcast and fucking ripped those guys to shreds, like intelligently and very articulately, and they couldn't say anything. They were stuck going through their phone trying to like disprove her.
I saw it, and it's funny to say they pick like the dumbest people to go on there because I saw
one. I
one.
don't want to say dumb, but
no, this girl was stupid. This individual was stupid. She was going on and saying like, who created gravity? Like, why'd you create gravity?
Oh my god, yeah.
She thought like Isaac Newton created gravity or some shit. And she was like, right, baby, creating gravity. And the guy was like, yeah.
He was like, yeah, for sure.
He don't love her. He don't love her.
No, the guy, the host of the podcast
was making fun of her. He was like, for sure. And laughing at it. And it's
damn.
like, fuck, you pick these girls because they have their tits out on Instagram and you're going to hit them up. You're going to be like, yo, have a conversation. And they'll come and then say the dumbest things. And I'm like, damn it, bitch.
It's just these men get on, like, they create their own podcast to literally, like, talk shit and just, like, sound stupid. And I mean, like, how is it that... Because I also heard this clip where this man was saying, oh, like, if you're the guy that nobody likes, what's his name? The Fresh podcast?
Fresh and Fit.
Fresh and Fit. That dude was like, if you post, like, if women post, like, pictures of their bodies on, like, social media or whatever, you're a hoe. And it's like...
Yeah.
For like, okay, maybe in some circumstances that might be true, but why does that and how does that affect you? Like, why are you taking that personally? Like,
I think everybody has a right to their opinion. I think again, it's how him specifically, because that's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, where he has a habit of not speaking correctly. So I'll say like some of.
I mean, I don't know how
he says things. Really, no, not everything. You have to really watch a lot of the clips to kind of like some of his points are like a little like where I understand where he's coming from in that situation, but then he says dumb shit like that and I'm just like, bro, I can't even no more.
But like
you know what I mean?
That's a problem too when people are actually like well spoken and they're eloquent with what they say because they sound like they're making sense. If you don't think about it, you're like, yeah, you know, I agree with this. But if you think about it for a little bit, you're like, wait, no, it's all pseudo intellectual bullshit.
It's
like Ben Shapiro, that's his entire platform.
Jada Pinkett Smith,
like
Will Smith's wife.
Exactly.
If you actually listen to what she's saying, it's like, what the fuck?
Exactly. But on like a surface level, people hear this, and people who may not be. May not be as, the smarter, educated, or whatever, as the people that are talking, they hear this shit and they're just like, oh, well, that's a smart guy. And he's saying what I'm going through. No, I know, but they didn't have a platform to reach the entire world at that point.
Yeah. You know what pisses me off? Your opinion can be wrong. You can have a wrong opinion.
Yeah, that's
you can't,
facts.
like, in arguments when people are just like, oh, well, that's just my opinion. You just lost the argument because now you have nothing to say. What you said was bullshit. Your opinion is still wrong. If my opinion was this was blue, this ain't blue.
Yeah, if your opinion is based off of fallacies, then it's just false.
Well, a lot of his opinions aren't like based on like facts. They're based on like because all they talk about is relationships. So it's like an emotional scale and how you feel, how this feels. So then in that sense, I'm like, because they talk about like preferences, right?
Right.
And a lot of the girls will get mad at the guys because the guys will be like, well, I prefer girls with a lower body count, or I prefer girls that don't exactly go to the clubs and drink OD and they take care of themselves. And the girls will get mad and they'll be like, nah, fuck you, like that's not a preference, like you're both, like they'll criticize that. And then I thought this was so smart that the guy came back and he was like, would you date a short guy?
Yeah.
Like what about that? Because girls will be like, oh, I'm a 10 and this and that, and then they'll be like, oh, that guy has short king energy. Have you heard that?
No, I
like girls, like I've heard that a lot, where girls will be like, man, he's short, like I got a bigger dick than him, or I'm this or I'm that.
I hate that.
And then I'll be like, but that's crazy though, because if a guy turned around and said like, oh, well, you got fat girl, and the guy literally said, I'll allow short, because she said it. She was like, nah, that guy has short king energy. He looked like he has a small dick. So then the guy was like, I'll allow that if you let me say, well, you have fat girl energy.
But
because they talked about something and she was like, nah, that's not the same.
I don't think any of that matters.
So it's like,
because like just because some other asshole is doing that doesn't validate my point. Like, if I'm a dickhead guy and I'm saying, oh, I don't want to go date a girl that's out in the club being a hoe, whatever, and then I turn around and ask some other asshole that's like, oh, but would you date a short king? What? Anybody that says that is a dickhead. So by you saying, oh, yeah, I wouldn't, that doesn't validate my also stupid ass point.
No, I'm saying, like, they're talking about preferences.
No,
like,
but I'm saying,
I would prefer my partner to do this. And then girls will be like, well, that's stupid. Why would you do that? Because there's a lot of good girls that go out. There's a lot of good girls that go out clubbing, and we're mad.
No, but like what I'm saying is though, like just because
faithful as fuck.
Just because another person has another shitty view doesn't make my shitty view valid. Like that, like his argument of like, oh, but would you do that? that doesn't
like I hate when people try to press on
balancing.
it.
Like I can't.
No, but like
I can't help but like be like, that does kind of make sense though, because if you criticize this,
no, but
you
like
can't go about
I don't
and
think
do
you,
the
I don't
same
think you're
thing.
getting
But
what
like
I'm saying.
that whole thing, this is what you're getting at. That whole thing is a logical fallacy. Like you can't just be like, oh well, what about this? What about that? That whataboutism is bullshit. Like, because like if you do that, then like no matter what I'm arguing, I can sound right.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
like,
that's what
because
I mean.
it's just you know, like you could
that's what
even
opinions
about the
are.
most heinous shit. No, well, yeah, but like that's another thing though. Like if I have a preference, like people have gotten mad at me because of my preferences as well. But like I'm not making fun of somebody. I'm not talking down to somebody. I like personally, I want to date a girl that is active in sports and works out, right? Because that's what I am. And somebody got mad at me and was like, "Oh, well, what if they're just not into that?" It's like,
you're
then we're not
fat-phobic.
compatible.
But bro,
yeah,
but that's
exactly.
like-
but that's not what it is. It's people.
Yeah.
If you're talking down about it, like these people are talking down about it, right? Like I don't want a girl that goes to the club because she's a hoe and I can't trust her when she goes out. Well, that's your own insecurities, and you're being a dick about it.
Yeah.
Right now, if I just don't drink and I don't like that lifestyle or whatever, I'm a recovering alcoholic or whatever the case may be, and I don't want a girlfriend that does that because of my own whatever, that's different than saying like if you go to the club you're a hoe, right?
Yeah,
so like, you know what I'm saying?
That's like getting okay. Let me fact check myself first before I say this. Stalin starved out Turkey, right?
Started out somebody, I don't remember.
Was it Turkey?
I don't know. I don't.
I think he started
Austria.
He did one of those.
Okay, starving somebody. That's
somebody.
Like getting Stalin and Hitler in a room together, and then Stalin tells Hitler it's wrong to kill Jewish people, and then Hitler's like, "Oh yeah," but then like you kill these people, and he's like, "Oh no, you're right, kill them. Let's just kill everybody."
Yeah.
Because they're validating each other's point by some stupid shit.
But first of all, that'd be a great conversation to sit in on.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's this one asshole saying I wouldn't date a fat chick, and then a girl getting mad, and him saying, "Oh yeah, but would you date a guy with a little dick?"
Well,
it's just like
she started
stupid shit.
They were talking about Andrew Tate, and then she says he had short king energy, and then he got mad and he was like, "Don't say that because you're talking down on a whole bunch of guys, and you guys are always defending women." He was like, you guys are always saying that women's are 10s. So if, and he's like, we're fine with that. But then you can't attack men if they're 5'5".
Look, the thing
and she was like, 5'5" men aren't worth my time. Like if you're shorter than me, you're not worth my time.
She's also a dickhead.
That's what I'm saying.
So they're validating dickheadness.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like you know what I mean? Like it's funny how like there are like those podcasts get me so mad. But then sometimes, like, I see other podcasts, like, it'll come in my views, and I see these girls saying the most stupidest shit about men, too, and I'm just like, bitch.
But that's the thing. Like, we're trying to have a logical conversation about shitty people. You can't do that. These are shitty people. Their opinions don't matter.
So, like, he didn't make a point there.
Nobody made a point.
Yeah, exactly.
They made a point that they're shitty people. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, you can have, like, preferences are fine, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's fine. But like I had a conversation with somebody and they're trans and they asked me if I would ever date a trans girl and I said no because I want kids.
Okay.
I feel like that's valid. Yeah. I got attacked that I can adopt and I can do this and I was like, but like I want my own kids. And it's like, well, what if either you or your partner are sterile? Then what? I was like, well, then I guess then we would adopt. And like, oh, well, what's the difference?
The difference is something went
wrong. But like going into the relationship, I didn't know that. Right? So, like, then we're there and we cross the bridge. But, like, I don't want to not date that, like, a trans person because they're trans. I don't care about that. It's just, kids are important to me and I can't have kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's valid. But, like, if you're just like, no, fuck that. Like, that's still a man. That's this, that's that. Well, then you're a piece of shit.
See, a lot of people like to dig. Like, people want to see the phobias. People want people to be homophobic. And they just, so that's why when people get on these podcasts and they're like, oh, you can't say this. Oh, but what if, like, let's say you have your opinion and then someone's coming in with this negativity perspective. Like, oh, but what if this? It's just like, you're trying to look for me to validate your shittiness, bro. Exactly. And it's like, you just trying to like,
or you're just trying to.
Sometimes you gotta do that shit too, because man, they be having like 1 million likes on their shit and like the saved, and it's because it's so controversial.
It sparks conversation.
Well, it's also these people. They're just shitty people that like to argue.
Yeah, and people like watching that. See,
it's also like, you know what I hate? Like when guys validate their self-worth on how many like bitches they get.
Yeah,
it's just like, come on, bro. Like, every time I go out, I'm not trying to hear, oh, where the bitch is at? Where the bitch is at? Bro, they home. I don't fucking know where they are. I'm going out with them all the time. Like, I'm going to have a couple drinks and go home, bro. Like, I'm not fucking here for that. Like, fuck.
Home.
Yeah.
Like, what the
They heard you were coming and
like,
stayed home.
The same dudes that do that are the same dudes that are going to be like, oh, my girlfriend can't fuck a lot of guys. But then every time you go out, you try to find, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
like,
I'll agree with that.
come
Like,
on,
those
you make no
guys that do
sense.
that, they're
High
always
value
chasing after, like, that one girl that is exactly what against what they say they want.
Yep.
So it's like, why are you in these girls' DMs if she stands exactly for whatever you criticize women about anyway?
But back to the whole like question.
Oh, the
I
oppression thing.
Yeah, the oppression thing. I also want to touch on the fact that, like, you know, I guess men also feel like they have it hard because of mental health and suicide rate. And I agree with that. Suicide rate is a lot higher for men. Is it for men?
It is a lot higher for men.
Yeah, and
it's almost like double, I think. Yeah. I think in maybe on an emotional sense, men have always been oppressed.
Because people are going to be like, oh, well, you guys just breezed over the whole, like, mental health aspect of men.
But that's not even an oppression thing. That's a societal nonsense. That's toxic masculinity, right? Because, like, you know, back in the day, you don't show emotion. You harden it up. Your wife doesn't cook dinner properly, and you take out your bad day on her face. Like, that what you did, and that's what they taught their kids.
I don't think that's what was taught, but
no, that's what happened. That's what it was. That's just what happened, whether it's taught or not. Like, if you watch your father do that, then you go do that. Like, that's it's the generational shit that's taught.
I feel like nowadays, guys, if you feel that way, then you need to check your circle, bro.
Yeah.
If you feel like you can't express your emotions to your friends, check your circle. Don't blame it on society. Don't say that you're oppressed. Check the people that are around you. Because I have no problem with my close friends expressing how I feel.
Yes, 100%.
So check the people around you, bro. Don't fucking blame all this other bullshit.
But
and if you don't have people around you, can you please call the numbers? There's a lot of numbers out there.
True,
yeah. You know get help.
Fuck it, hit us up too if you're going through some shit.
Comment down below.
Send us an email.
But, like, that's the thing, like, and that's something that as society, I feel like our generation is trying to change, because, like, there's nothing wrong with having feelings. You know what I mean? Like the whole, like, oh, men can't show weakness because this, that, and the third. Like, and then there are a lot of like women out there that are assholes and are like, oh, well, you know, he cried in front of me, so like da. And like that whole thing needs to stop.
I love women, but y'all
that
need
whole
to stop.
thing, and like that's a smaller subset, right? Like, I'm not calling anybody out, but like that whole thing needs to stop, because if you don't let people in general, men, women, whatever, express themselves and like be upset, then that shit is just gonna fester, and it's going to be toxic eventually. So like you need to. I don't need to pay fucking $2,000 an hour for a therapist. I could just call one of my friends.
That's facts.
You know what I mean? Well, there are certain issues where you need a therapist, you need professional intervention, but like just for like normal life things, you know what I mean? Like if I have an issue, I can talk to Bobby. I can talk to either of you. I can talk to any number of my good friends, and like they're there for me. They talk to you, and nobody judges. Yeah. And like that's something we need to break that stigma for in general.
Yeah. Y'all need to show up for each other as much as women show up for you. Like, you know.